If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we are so honored today to have Kate Harrison on. Kate is not only a lawyer, but she also has her master's from Yale University in environmental management, and we've had a lot of people on from Yale, and they've all been green rock stars. Welcome to Green is Good, Kate Harrison.
Oh, thank you so much, John.
You know, Kate, you are really, truly an exceptional young woman. You, in 2007, you wrote the best-selling green wedding book, The Green Bride Guide, How to Plan an Earth-Friendly Wedding on Any Budget, which I'm sure is available on Amazon.com. And you also founded www.greenbrideguide.com for our listeners who are in front of their iPads or computers or things of that such. And I know Mike has the site up here right now. Tell us a little bit, what inspired you in 2007 to write that book and to launch your website?
Well, in 2006, I got engaged to my now husband, Barry, and we met at the Yale School of Forestry, so obviously we just wanted to have a wedding that was in line with who we were and what we stood for, what we believed in. And I found that process to be so much harder and much more frustrating than I thought it should be. And I just felt like if I was spending all this time trying to find eco-friendly products and services for my wedding and was really dedicated to it, that somebody who was interested but not, as green, just probably wouldn't be able to do it. They just wouldn't have the time or the energy. So I wanted to make the process really easy for other couples.
And, your mission statement's great, to help couples use their weddings to promote social and environmental change and support the local green economy. I love that mission statement. What has been the response to your site? And also, were there any competitors when you were writing the book and thinking about launching the website? Was there any competition out there or anybody in this space already?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, the response to the site has been really phenomenal, both from the couples but also from the businesses that we work with. A lot of green companies are very small, sort of sole proprietorships, and they have a very hard time reaching the couples that are interested in them, and there's a gap in the marketplace. So when we came along and offered a unified platform for them to share their products and services, they were thrilled, and we were thrilled, and the couples were thrilled. So it's a really, compared to law in particular, it's a really nice business to be in. Everybody we work with is really happy.
So did you ever practice? I'm just going to ask you this because I have a lot of friends that have gone to law school that don't practice. Did you ever practice?
I actually started a company while I was finishing law school. So I spent my summers in law school practicing, but then when I was done and I took the bar and was ready to go be a lawyer for real, the company was already getting
going.
It was already rolling along.
And you had the bug, and you said bye-bye law.
Well, I thought the law can wait. This seems like a really unique and exciting opportunity.
So did you create that website while you were writing the book or after you wrote the book? How did you come up with that idea?
So I started, basically I wrote the book. I got married in 2007 in October, and I wrote the book sort of from October to February of 2008. And at that time, I sent the manuscript off to Source Books, who was the publisher, and they held it until December. And from February to December, I started getting a series of emails from small vendors who had heard through the grapevine about the book. Because at the time, I had interviewed pretty much the entire world of green. There were about 250 vendors mentioned in the book.
Wow.
So I started getting these emails, hey, I have a new invitation company. I'd really love to be part of this. And at that time, the book was out of my hands, so I started a blog. And then that blog begat another blog where I started getting questions from brides about their weddings, and another blog with pictures and stories from couples who sent in their real green weddings for us to share. And suddenly I had all these blogs, and I realized it was sort of silly to run blogs. It should really be housed in one site. And I also realized that there was much more opportunity in the marketplace than just sharing stories. I really wanted couples to be able to find local vendors in their area and be able to see the products and really experience green weddings in a really holistic way. And the book is focused kind of on national vendors, and it has some worksheets in the back to go talk to local vendors, but it doesn't provide that, you're in Dutchess County in New York,
right,
and you're looking for a caterer. Who who do you go to? So I really wanted to do that. So that's what the website's focused on.
And so, let's start back at square one. What is really, truly the environmental impact of a conventional wedding? And then do a comparison between a green wedding and a conventional wedding, because Mike and I want to learn, and we want our listeners to hear this, because we've never had a wonderful guest like you on this subject matter.
Well, every wedding is different, so it's hard to make generalizations, but on average, the average wedding produces 63 tons of CO2. So
Wow.
with 2.2 million weddings a year, it's about the equivalent of 8 million cars on the road for a year, and 400 pounds of garbage per wedding.
Wow. Now, where does all the CO2 come from? I mean, the garbage, I can understand. That's an easy one to kind of figure, but where does all the CO2 come from?
It comes from 150 guests traveling from all over the country, and then some of the carbon footprint comes from actually running the facility.
Okay.
But most of it is travel.
Okay, so you've just kind of done the math and the numbers, and it averages out like that. Wow. Okay.
So now you've given us the problem. What does a green wedding look like, and what solutions do you offer?
Okay, so, every single part of a wedding has a different way that you can be
Sure.
green and reduce the footprint.
Sure.
So we kind of walk through from engagement rings all the way through the honeymoon, and obviously there are different solutions in every category. But in terms of reducing garbage, a lot of it is just about being creative with reuse and not buying disposable items. So one of the examples that I use on the website is that of the disposable aisle runner. It seems like such a minor thing, and a lot of couples just buy one last minute because they feel like they should have something. But most disposable aisle runners, they have the word disposable in them. So,
Right.
they're made out of petroleum, they're thrown
Right.
away, and a lot of them are so chintzy that they get thrown away actually before the ceremony because they realize they're not going to work, or people's heels are going to get caught. So if every disposable aisle runner in the United States this year for weddings were laid end to end, they would circle the globe twice.
Oh, that is bad.
So, yeah, it's really shocking. So a lot of it is just about skipping things like that are just disposable, that nobody's going to use, favors that people are going to throw away, and instead trying to use items that are, antiques or already in the family, or that you can borrow, or that can be reused or recast in some manner.
Well, and so give us, do you have a top 5 or a top 10 list of what the things couples can do to have the greatest impact? So we have listeners out there all across the land and even internationally. Tell our listeners what they can do. Like, what are some of your greatest tips or greatest hits that really resonate with couples that aren't that difficult to do, but that can turn around the carbon footprint and also the greening of their wedding experience?
So going to the carbon footprint, because travel is such a big component of the wedding and has such a large impact on the overall footprint of the event, trying to choose a venue or a location that is central to your guests as opposed to a venue where everyone has to travel, it reduces the cost of your wedding for your guests significantly, and it also really reduces that carbon footprint and your effect on global warming. So that's really simple. And within that, instead of choosing 2 venues, a lot of times people will have a venue for the ceremony and then a separate venue for the reception, and everyone has to drive in between. Trying to choose one venue where you can have the ceremony and reception, and maybe everyone can also stay. That's a great way to reduce the carbon footprint of the event, and then also everyone gets to drink, so you're very popular.
So in other words, planning, so part of making a green wedding is really as simple as first picking the right spot to do it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you can pick a place that's relatively close to public transportation, it's easy to, it's easily accessible, and those are really so simple, and there's so many fabulous venues that meet those criteria. So that's one thing. The next biggest thing is food and flowers. So over half of the wedding budget is usually spent on food.
Wow.
And I think this is a tremendous opportunity to funnel some of that wedding spending into the green economy. So just by making really simple menu substitutions, going with items or dishes that are local and regional and seasonal, you can really reduce the footprint of that meal.
Gotcha.
So I was reading recently that the average meal, I think, in the United States travels about 5,000 miles to the plate.
Wow.
So if you can use, for example, for our wedding, it was in October in New York. So we had local grass-fed organic beef from New York. We had sweet potatoes from New York. We had a mushroom soup from Connecticut. Really local foods that were, perfect for autumn. I mean, really, it was so nice to have this hot mushroom soup, and it was so delicious, and the footprint of that meal was very small.
Gotcha. And then talk about the flowers a little bit. That was a fascinating point.
Yeah, it's the same thing with flowers. I mean, most roses in particular are grown overseas in hothouses, so they require a tremendous amount of energy to be produced. They're covered in pesticides because we don't eat roses or flowers in general. Imported flowers, there's no regulation on how much pesticide they can use. So because nobody wants to buy a damaged-looking flower, they just douse these things with pesticides. And then, of course, they're shipped in, often from Africa or South America. So that's your carbon footprint there on the flowers. So again, if you can work with the season and the region that you're in, for us that meant using hydrangeas and dahlias and pine cones and sort of all these things that were available in fall. The cost of that, in terms of going green and saving money, was just a fraction of the cost of most flowers. So the average flowers cost about $2,000. And by going green, ours cost $200, which is a huge difference. And it was all really fresh and really fragrant and really local and organic.
Got it.
Well, I'm really thinking right now that I'm hoping a lot of fathers of the bride-to-be are taking notes, okay?
Exactly. It's great. What are, now you started this in 2006, 2007. What have you seen the last 2.5, 3 years? What are people getting really excited about this? Is this a growing trend? And are other people now getting into the space? What's your thoughts on this whole green wedding, the popularity of it? Is it growing?
Yeah, so when I started, about 10% of couples were interested in going green.
Okay.
And according to a David's Bridal study that came out last year, 46% of couples are interested in going green now. So it's really a tidal wave of interest, which is wonderful, and I'm thrilled about it.
So when people go to your website and they get all this information, are there actual people they can hire, green wedding planners, or do you have that service from the website? It becomes a green wedding planner? How does that work?
Yeah, I am not a green wedding planner, and nor is anyone on the staff at the Green Bride Guide, but the directory that we have has a lot of green wedding planners, and actually we just started a certification class for wedding planners, so now we have wedding planners that have gone through an educational program that we know really can offer a robust offering of green options. But we have a couple hundred wedding planners in the directory who all are very committed to going green, and you should be able to find one in your area.
All across America. This is a trend that's going all across America. So what is
and in the UK and
really?
I think Australia.
Really? Wow. So wait a second. So what is the best way then for the couples who are obviously very committed to the green movement and to the choices that they're making to share with their guests and inspire their guests as to why they're making certain choices in this whole wedding process? What's the best way of communication there?
Yeah, a lot of couples are very worried about this. I think they're concerned about what we call seeming preachy. They don't want to feel like they're pushing their agenda on their guests, but
Right.
There are a lot of ways to let guests know about what you're doing that are really non-intrusive. So, for example, you can have a section of your wedding website that talks about the things that you're doing that are green, and then guests who are interested will read more, and guests who aren't won't click on that tab. If you have an invitation or a seating card that's made from a post-consumer waste recycled paper, for example, just putting that information somewhere on the card, or if you're giving to charity, or just having little notes as part of the wedding on the back of the program, talking about what you're doing. I think it's an amazing opportunity to educate guests about the choices you've made and to show them that going green doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice style.
Gotcha. I understand what you're saying. That makes a lot of sense. I saw recently that you launched a green wedding registry, a gift registry that was green. Tell us, what does that mean and why did you do that? Was there a need in the marketplace for that?
Yeah, this is an initiative I'm just really excited about because it's something that I really wanted to have when I was getting married. I mean, we wanted to have some products. Obviously, a lot of couples are getting married later in life, and my husband and I both came with a set of dishes, so we didn't need that. But we really wanted to have organic bedding and a nice, organic hammock and some recycled glasses, and all of those things were just really hard to find. And so what we've done is over the last few months, we've really gone out and we've sourced a lot of really beautiful, eco-couture home goods, from, kitchen appliances to bedding to, like I said, even cleaning supplies. And we've put together packages on the site that are in the approximate, gift range, the average gift range. And I just think it's a great opportunity. All of the vendors that we represent on the site in the registry are really taking incredible steps to be environmentally sound, and we have a lot of incredible local artisans there, American-based artisans that are green. So it's been fun to put together, and response to that has been fantastic.
I was talking about response. When you launched the website compared to today, the world has changed, obviously, in terms of social media and getting the word out. Talk a little bit about, Kate, what kind of traffic are you getting on the website, and how big is your community and your tribe growing in terms of people using it every day and emails that you receive every day, et cetera, et cetera? What does that look like?
So we get now, I have to check the actual stats for this month, but somewhere around 15,000 unique visitors coming to the site a month, and we haven't done any paid advertising. We just began last month, so it's all been organic traffic.
Wow.
And in terms of Facebook and Twitter, I really should probably have the numbers at the tip of my finger, but okay. I think we have something like a little over 1,000 Facebook fans and a couple of thousand Twitter fans, and it's something we're just beginning to really tap into and try to be more aware of.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. So, what other neat partnerships have you, aligned yourself with? Obviously, you've put together this green wedding gift registry, which makes all the sense. Talk about a little bit other partnerships that you've created with your greenbrideguide.com property that would be relevant to people out there that are thinking about getting married or are going to get married. What other partnerships that could they avail themselves of?
Well, we have a really exciting partnership launching. I think it's coming at the end of next week. There's been some sort of technical glitches, but we're working with mywedding.com, which is the third largest wedding website out there, and they provide free wedding websites. So we'll be offering free green wedding websites, and then you can order the matching eco-friendly invitations. So that's a partnership I think is going to be really fun, and hopefully we'll save couples some money too because they won't have to pay for their own wedding website.
Wow.
And another thing we do a lot of is we'll partner with large wedding shows, and we'll create a green pavilion within that show. So we invite all the green vendors that we have in the area to come and set up a booth, and we create a whole little area where you can come and you can see what an organic wedding dress, feels like, and taste organic wedding cake and see recycled paper invitations and really have a hands-on experience at one of these larger shows. And I usually give a talk and sort of we wrap it all together. So we just wrapped up a big tour, and we're just putting together the rest of this year. So they'll be announced on our website shortly.
And we're down to the last couple of minutes, but I do want to also mention, you also seem that you've put together an amazing partnership with the great people from Elevate Destinations.
Yeah.
For green honeymoons?
That one right away. I know. Yes. And I know they were guests on your show earlier.
Yeah,
so
wonderful guests.
Elevate Destinations is a really fantastic company. They do really beautiful, tailored trips all over the world. And we have a partnership now where if you mention the Green Bride Guide when you're booking your honeymoon or just your general eco travel, you get a free couples massage. So that's a little upside for you, for anybody listening.
Perfect.
And they have just, I mean, I'm drooling over their trips, and hopefully I'll get to go on one sometime the next year.
Hey, so we're down to the last minute or so. Give us two things. As a woman ecopreneur, share some pearls of wisdom with our entrepreneurs in waiting or our other entrepreneurs out there that want to reinvent their careers. And also tell us about what the future looks like for the Green Guide, greenbrideguide.com.
Well, for the entrepreneurs out there, I think the only negative wisdom I have is to just go for it. I think that, there's so much opportunity right now, especially with the economy. You can get so many services on trade. I think a lot of companies are willing to work with you in ways they haven't before. And so there's wonderful opportunities for partnerships and support. So I would just say take the leap. Now's the moment. And you're giving up less usually because a lot of people are out of work.
Good.
So that's my piece of advice for them. And in terms of where the site's headed, the big project we're working on right now is a marketplace. So hopefully in September we're going to be launching, it's kind of like an Amazon or an Etsy, which is a site that I love. If you've never been there, it's ETSY. It's a handmade marketplace. It's a similar concept, but it's really focused exclusively on green wedding products and services, and it will be representing a host of small businesses that are really able to produce things in quantity and produce really beautiful eco-friendly goods, but that, again, don't have easy access to the market. So I'm really excited to be able to help those companies get out there and really access the couples that are looking for them.
Well, perfect. And Kate, we're out of time here, but you've been an amazing guest. And for all our listeners who want to learn more about how to green their wedding, go to Kate Harrison's amazing website, www.greenbrideguide.com. Kate Harrison, you're a visionary pioneer, and you are truly living proof that green is good.
You're making me blush, but thank you, John.